Welcome
to
to
another
another episode
episode
of
of Claudian
Claudian
Rhythm.
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 Gang, gang, gang.
It's another day, another week, another Monday, April 13th, 2026. You know what I mean?
Is your...
I've been feeling good, man.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. I mentioned it before, but maybe I should just stop saying that. I mentioned it before, I told you this off the pod. It's partly performative, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I feel like the whole last month I was in like a depressive spiral that kind of sparked from my birthday and the approach of it, anxieties of it, and having to sort of contemplate, I guess, social relationships
Mm.
and just emotional cast off from earlier times, in which birthdays just weren't the happiest thing, or they made me feel anxious rather than excited.
Mm.
But this month it was like switch flipped, just a whole new head on my shoulders. It feels good.
Yeah.
I've been unusually energized in some senses, to the point where I'm going to sleep a bit later, like 2 a.m., waking up, and I can't fall back asleep. Like, usually
Mm.
when you drive me to work, I'm falling back asleep within a few minutes
Yeah.
during the car ride. But I haven't been able to do that for the last few days.
Mm.
Just kind of like, ugh, I would want to sleep.
Yeah.
Feels like I don't
You
need it,
get
though.
your rest.
I don't know what happened. Uh, but one thing that has had me, or sort of had me kind of sad for a little while, and melancholic sometimes when I think about it, uh, is something that happened with a streamer I used to watch a lot, Sykkuno. Um,
Mm.
so a lot of this is I've kind of chilled on calling what he did predatory. I don't know. That's probably what I want to talk about,
Mm-hmm.
because I feel like you're a more socialized person, even though you're not like, you probably don't have that much data. That's what I was thinking about.
Mm-hmm.
We don't talk about that
Oh, yeah,
stuff.
like dating and stuff like that.
I don't know why it is for you, but for
Mm-hmm.
me, it's just like back as a kid with my little childhood crushes or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
and having everybody looking and talking about it and joking.
Mm.
It made it where no,
Yeah.
never again. To the point where I won't even flirt with a girl if I find her attractive, if I
Mm-hmm.
know people that I know are around.
Oh, no.
Crazy.
Sorry about that.
I don't, it's not you. It's mostly a dad thing.
Mm-hmm.
He's the
I
main offender.
know that was a thing.
Why do you think it is for you though?
For me, it's just because I'm with one person, my partner, and we ride it. 10, 11 years in. Um, so everything I know is just I know how to work with her.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
I always feel weird talking about dating because I'm like I haven't dated. I
yeah.
just been with
Really,
one person. It worked out. you know.
like a Mormon son.
Like maybe I could talk about like what you can possibly extrapolate from how to establish how to maintain a long-term relationship,
Yeah.
you know um but
But
I don't
why do
know.
you
Yeah.
think you never talked about girls when we were growing up though?
Oh, yeah. I feel like growing up I was just very focused,
Mm,
um and at the same time I had low self-esteem,
mm,
so it was a double whammy where on one side they definitely fed into each other, right? The self-esteem made me feel like I couldn't, like there's no way I'm gonna get any play. I'm not. I couldn't even like see myself going to talk talk to people and stuff like that. But on the other side, I really was like focused on like, oh, I'm gonna invent hover cars, I'm gonna do all this stuff. Um, and it was just more convenient for me to be like, oh no, I don't want to talk to girls anyway. I'm trying to focus on the getting bag and this, that, and the other. So it was a self fulfilling prophecy in some ways.
yeah.
But yeah, um, that's why she basically had to fall into my lap for it all to work out. Um, but I do feel like it was. really after high school where I started to be like, maybe I should date. I
Yeah.
actually started making like an online, dating profile.
Oh.
I was gonna start, reaching out and doing stuff like that.
Yeah.
Um,
Elijah had this thing where kids where he would say like, "I'm not trying to date anybody until I made it." Pretty
yeah,
much.
yeah. I was like, I'm not gonna get married or nothing until I'm a. And when I say made it, I was like, I'm gonna be a millionaire. I'm gonna have these inventions going. I'm gonna have this, that, and the other. I'm gonna buy my mama house.
So funny. The ambitions of a child.
And insane, insane. It's funny because I still have many of the same ambitions. It's just like targeted or the same level of ambition, but targeted. I feel in a more productive way.
Right.
But yeah, this is very interesting.
For me, I feel like it's more confusing in a sense. Like in general, I feel like I bloomed later than my classmates. Like they were joking about sex and stuff when I just jumped in. I didn't even I don't even think I was getting hard when they were at that time.
It was so weird. Yeah, I never really understood that. Like, I feel like I was definitely a horny kid, but it always was weird to hear people talking about like all the stuff they were doing in like
Yeah,
middle school, high
middle
school,
school.
especially middle school. But
That's when
like,
it was
yeah,
like I was like,
I'm
what?
like, how? What? I didn't understand how people even got to this point.
So I was always interested in girls specifically, especially older girls.
Same.
Weird, but there wasn't a desire for them. Like it wasn't a desire to chase them, and it didn't seem that strong. And then growing up, I want to say probably in like high school is the first time. Well, no, that's not true. There's it feels like there's always like maybe one girl. Not always. In kindergarten, there was one girl.
Remember kindergarten.
In ninth grade, there was one girl. In 12th grade, there was one girl.
Interesting.
Kindergarten, I don't know. I just act like a kindergarten kid with a crush,
Yeah.
trying to look cool in front of her, pretty much being silly. Ninth grade, she was in a relationship with somebody, and that was my most introverted time. Everyone called me antisocial. 12th grade, she was also in a relationship.
Different girl.
Different girl,
Okay.
yeah, completely different girl. That was in different schools. And then after that, I wasn't even meeting people in workplaces, and I was
Yeah.
just home. Besides that, I still feel like my libido isn't. I don't know. It depends. It waxes and wanes. I feel like and it's kind of like if I feed into it, then it will spark up, but then it will just die down. And I'm like, oh, whatever. And all this is, and there is a sense of not insecurity, but like I haven't done it before. And for me, if something that I haven't done before usually provokes a sense of anxiety. So I'm less motivated to put myself out there.
Yeah.
I've been in this sort of mode of being for so long that the
Yeah.
year has passed, and I'm just like, this is the life. And Sykkuno is a guy like that. Um, except he is more like you, I would say. Probably worse, to the point where, from my understanding, part of his story, his backstory, is like he had some bad experiences with women who sort of like pretty much did prank shit on him, which fed into his already poor self esteem. He wasn't the most attractive of kids. Just looking at some of his old pictures, but when he got into the streaming space and became a streamer, that was part of his appeal, that he had all these insecurities that he was upfront about. Part of his appeal was that he is like this gentle, peaceful guy. He's just good, positive vibes, nice, chill vibe to just wind back to. And I think because of this, he attracted a very strong female fan base. Like he probably had one of the highest proportions of female fan bases in streaming for
Right.
like a male streamer.
Yeah.
Um,
Mm-mm-mm.
so he's been streaming for how long? Dang, I don't even know how long. A while, I don't know. Because he had a brief YouTube history, I think, and then he cut it off and he hopped on to streaming. I think maybe 9 years at
Mm-hmm.
least. So he's kind of an OG, you know what I mean? At one point, he was one of the biggest streamers, like top 20, 30, 40, something like that.
Mm.
Um, so we're talking a massive fan base. And as I said, part of his brand is just being this soft, gentle guy who doesn't get no play. Girls aren't into him. It's like one of his little catchphrases.
Mm-hmm.
So in these last few days, when it came out that not only did he have a girlfriend,
Mm.
but he was cheating on her.
Goodness.
And not only was he cheating on her with one girl, he was cheating on her with apparently a plethora.
Mm.
We don't know how many. A few people have came out and talked about it. Um, the one who exposed him accused him of having a predatory uh, pattern of actions, pretty much, where he would go after smaller VTubers, which is what he became. He first started as like a faceless streamer, and then he got his courage up, started showing his face,
Mm.
and then eventually became like part-time VTuber. Um, yeah, so he would target. They were saying he would target these smaller, often younger
Mm.
VTubers, um, and emotionally manipulate them into having sex with him.
Mm.
So I guess this is going to be the topic of conversation. So, ugh, yucky is yucky.
Yeah.
So first of all, the cheating thing is like unmistakably shitty.
Mm-hmm.
It is a complete deception of who he showed himself to be, which has resulted in his fan base pretty much collapsing.
Mm.
Um, and it's just it's mind boggling because
Yeah.
he didn't have to do it.
Yeah.
just end it. It. He hasn't released anything officially, but the lady who exposed him recorded a conversation, like their parting conversation. It seemed to him like he just for some reason couldn't call it off completely.
Mm.
They're on the down and outs apparently, but he just wouldn't for some
Mm-hmm.
reason. And that's
Yeah.
just something the fan base has to sit with. Like, but so the part that interests me, and I guess I want to see more discussion on, is what is predatory, and what is kind of like just part of being a famous guy,
Mm-hmm.
a rich famous guy, who seems to just be interested in casual sex.
Mm.
Because if a rapper did what Sykkuno did, nobody would care. If
Well.
a major celebrity,
Mm-hmm.
as long as they're not like Kendrick,
Mm.
like J. Cole, like someone who presents themselves as like a good person
Yeah.
or morally upstanding being outside the cheating, I'm saying.
Mm.
Nobody would care if they were just like casually sweeping up women, flying them out.
Mm.
Um, but with him, it matters because of his story and what he says. Like it's just a breaking of trust. It's a lack of integrity there.
Mm-hmm.
And what makes it creepy and perhaps predatory, if true, is the age of the girls always seeming to be younger than him
Mm-hmm.
and always seeming to be smaller VTubers.
Yeah.
So this paints a picture of someone targeting women,
Mm-hmm.
someone who is looking for power imbalances.
Yeah.
Um, but what kind of makes it shaky is that it seems like he doesn't always approach women. Sometimes they're approaching him,
Mm-hmm.
and he's just reciprocating, and then sometimes, and it's so annoying to talk about because I feel like you have to be so online and you have to scan everything
Mm.
and decipher every text message.
Yeah.
I'm not doing all that.
Yeah.
But in the one who exposed them, it seemed to me like she came on to him first, and he kind of just reciprocated. Um, Money was part of the equation, but it wasn't like I'm giving you this money for that.
Mm-hmm.
It just seemed like if she had a want, he would fulfill it.
Hmm.
Um, but what was weird is that he pretended to be innocent. Of course,
Mm-hmm.
didn't
Mm-hmm.
show that he was in a committed relationship.
Yeah.
Uh, so it's kind of like if you just did one of those things, it'd be far more forgivable.
Mm-hmm.
But then there is another situations. There's other situations where he's just like he would just send a girl a DM completely innocently. Um, Sometimes they were one I think replied and it became a sexual relationship,
Mm.
from my understanding. But I'm not okay. I'm not going to talk about what happened
Mm-hmm.
because it's just too many lines of text that I would have to pull up on my phone to talk about one by one, and like
Yeah.
it's just I'm gonna give hypotheticals of who Sykkuno could have been or who he could be, and what would make him like a complete unforgivable person to me, and what would make me be like, oh, okay, kind of understandable,
Mm.
weird, but okay, I could let it slide. Like it could be forgiven. If Sykkuno is the type of person who is deliberately seeking out, just as I said before, these younger people, um, and then pretending as if they have a chance of a long term relationship just for the purpose of having sex with them, and incentivizing these, like overtly incentivizing interaction with him by way of money or status, that's completely unforgivable. That is predatory behavior.
Mm-hmm.
Not in the sense of like a pedophile, but in the sense of somebody who is targeting
Yeah.
these young and impressionable people that should. He's like 34 now,
Mm.
and these girls like 19, 20.
Oh damn. Yeah.
Yeah. He's like 33 actually. Same thing though. But if he's someone who's living kind of like, I guess, a rapper or rock star
Mm.
who is being approached, sometimes they approach just anybody and they just they're just flirting for the sake of casual sex.
Mm.
I don't care as much.
Mm-hmm.
But do you think that's a bad thing if they're like that young? Like, what is the like for me? That's weird. But when I say that, I will want to say why it's weird.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Goodness. So how I see it is, you have to simplify things in your mind, because the human mind, we come up with so many ways to justify things that we want to do,
Yeah.
even if we know we shouldn't do it. And so to me, you know, I used to have these sort of, you know, imaginings in my mind, and I still kind of do sometimes, where I like theorize if I'm in a certain position, what would I do? Um, and to me, it's like comes you got to simplify. It's like if they're under 25, that's a no. That's a hard no. If they're under 30, you know, between 25 and 30, that's like okay, you know, got to see here and there, this, that, and the other thing. Especially for me as a 31 person, you know, I'm 31 at this point, and generally I see it as like anything below 10 years, you 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 most likely have some sort of weird, at least weird relationship, if not predatory.
Mm.
You know, unless you're both over the age of like I don't know 40 or something. Like
Yeah.
just because of how you know how we mature over time and the various things, and that's just regular people. Now, if you throw in the consideration of like fame, money, power, stuff like that, it gets way worse. As the the saying goes, as we all know, with great power comes great responsibility. Like that's it's serious,
Yeah.
because literally when you have so much imbalance in power, you know, then you got to imagine it. At least I imagine it as like a weight that you can essentially toss around, and so especially for any and okay, so a couple things here. The fact of him kind of almost branding himself as like essentially the nice guy is almost always a red flag for me. Just because like pretty much every guy I've ever seen who's done that has always been weird. Because it's one thing to be like, oh, I have low self esteem, I'm dealing with this thing here. It's another thing to be like, oh, I'm just chilling, I'm just whatever. It tends to be, it tends to be a mask, when you lean into that sort of element. Because having low self esteem is not a point of pride. Like when I had at least for me, when I had low self esteem, it's never something I was proud about. It was just like, damn, I know this is something I have to work through. And actually, no, I'm not gonna say that, because there were times when I was proud about it, and those were the times where I noticed, at least afterwards, that I was at my worst. When I was like, you know what, I'm not like those other guys. That's how it feels sometimes, where it's like, um, I'm not a fuck boy because I don't. I'm still a virgin. I got principles or this, that, and the other, and it's really just you, trying to justify your own insecurities type shit. Um, and so when you couple that with the elements of fame, with the weight of power in that way, then you're creating for yourself a brand, a tool that can further, add, excuse me, can further add weight to that weight that you already have, right? So you already have the fame part, right? Which is one weight. But when you throw on top of that this skin, this mask of like, I'm a nice guy, it's an added weight to it, because that other people, especially younger impressionable women, or even worse, young girls, will see that as, oh, not only is this guy famous, but he's nice, right? And so it's like doubling the potency, right? It's doubling the risk factor of abuse, quite frankly, right? Like you said, if a rapper does this or something like that, or a basketball player does this, you don't hear as much about it. That's not because it's good. That's
Yeah.
not because it's okay. It's because we have so much low standards for rappers and basketball players and things like that. Like, it's sad. It's terrible. Um, but because there is a lower standard, because you already know that those people are going to be toxic in some way, you're kind of almost like letting yourself get into it. And I'm not, I don't want to victim blame it or anything like that, because the type of people who go for that relationship are in and of themselves already, um, have some level of insecurities in and of themselves, right? I mean, we all have insecurities, but it kind of plays on top of it. And so the type of people who will go for a toxic person that they know is toxic
But
is different than the type of person who will go for like, oh, this is just a nice guy. I'm just,
yeah, true. But also, I think sometimes when I see people, especially on Twitter, approach this, it seems to be ignoring the fact that sometimes people just want casual sex with this figure.
Yeah, 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 yeah. And
And
I'll
for
get to that
me,
too. Go ahead.
that's one of the key differentiating factors. Like, if he's obviously just positioning for casual sex, that's different from someone who is positioning themselves as someone who's looking for a relationship, but he's actually only looking for casual sex.
I mean, yeah. I mean, to me, that's the same. It's all in the same same field. What was it? Thinking of that
Ballpark.
term. Ballpark. There you go. I was like,
I was like, I didn't think you. It's such an obvious name.
But yeah, because it again comes to that inherent, like you said, trust building, that brand, right? If you're like, oh, I'm a nice guy, you would think that it's not like a nice guy can't go out for casual sex. Is that a nice guy would have a ethical way of going about it, right? Like you said before,
Yeah.
they're just clear and honest. They're like, hey, I'm just looking for something casual right now, right? Especially in today's day and age in 2026, where we know that if you want to have an open relationship, polyamorous or whatever,
We have
there's
so many words for these things now.
right. This that's a thing. That's a whole practice. That's a whole discipline. It's a whole culture, right? And you can get into that. Like, there's no reason to be shamed for having an open relationship. And it's gonna be a little bit of a tangent here, but it's so funny because I was reading Revolutionary Suicide by Huey P. Newton, and he was I didn't know this, but like a lot of the Black Panthers in the beginning were like polyamorous, right? Like they believed in like this open love type of thing.
I'm not
But
surprised.
yeah, I'm not surprised, but it's not something people talk about. But something he even mentioned in the book was that when they first started doing this open relationship thing, he recognized that they were being weird about it at first, right? Like they were using the little bit of influence they had as the early Black Panthers to be like, hey, if you down for the cause, sister, we doing the open thing here. And he realized, oh, he was just in it for just to have a whole bunch of casual sex, not to actually love and be loved, by different people and things like that. And so they had to unlearn that, right? They had to recognize that this is an abusive, or at the very least, a manipulative tactic, and therefore to change that in order to do something more ethical, right? Which means having open and honest conversation, making sure that the woman is completely aware of everything that you're doing, and they in tune and in turn have options, right? Like if they go with different people, you're not going to get mad, and so on and so forth, right? So all that to say that if you believe yourself to be a good person, but you also want to have casual sex, you have to recognize, and on top of that, you have some level of influence, some power. You have to recognize all of that, and you have to be to consciously make a choice to be like, I'm gonna do this ethically, right? Like, if you want to have casual sex, then you got to be able to talk to the person that you're with and be like, hey, I want to have a more open relationship. Here is what we can get into. Here's what I'm thinking about. What do you think? And stuff like that. You got to work through it. And if she's not down for it, then maybe you have to separate. You can't be selfish and be like, oh, you can't be down. You're not down for it. You gotta be together. I thought you was my ride or die. Then it becomes manipulative, right?
Yeah.
And if you're so bought into your own brand of I'm the nice guy, then you're deluding yourself into being even more manipulative and more, potentially abusive. Whether you're doing that consciously or not, or unconsciously, or is it subconsciously? I don't know. But either way, you're if you're not aware of that, if you're not dealing with that reality, then yeah, this shit like this happens, and it just becomes disgusting. It just becomes predatory. So, all that to say that yeah, you have to make it simple. You have to have clear rules, clear principles, and clear conversations. All of this could have been avoided, and it's
It's
that's
so
what's
disappointing.
terrible about this stuff.
Just so disappointing. Um. Yeah, I'm often trying to figure out like where was his head at?
Most likely bought in, especially if he got big, like you said, for about 10 years. So he was in his 20s, when he got big, and if he had this life of low self esteem and never really dealt with that,
Yeah.
then it just kind of rolls into each other, right? As they say, money brings more. Or some people say money doesn't corrupt; it just brings out what's already
It
in there.
reveals.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it reveals. And I think it does both, but
Yeah.
um, if he's never dealt with that, if he's never been, if he has not been actually grappling with that, with his own actual self esteem, but instead trying to use it as some sort of branding mechanism, then of course, this was inevitable, unfortunately, because he's.
I feel like I don't know. I could be wrong because what just happened has completely broken trust in who he is.
Hmm.
It's hard to say. It's hard to believe that it's all just branding,
Mm.
given how long he's been streaming, how long he streams in a day, and the fact that you could find him on the internet even after he stopped streaming on like other people's streams, or
Hmm.
even when he's interacting with friends, like they all say like this is the guy.
Yeah,
So I'm
but let me.
wondering. So to me, I think it's not that the brand is artificial necessarily,
No, it doesn't have to be.
but there is just so much. There's just more nuance. Like someone could be a perfectly balanced human, like a good person
Hmm.
generally, but then there could be these specific topics or scenarios or situations or relationships where it's like they just flip.
Yeah, yeah. And let me be clear: by branding, I don't mean like it's
Like internalized personality,
yeah, it's essentially like you're something that you identify
the
with. Yeah,
aesthetics.
like you said that. Yeah, aesthetics, but aesthetics can go deeper. It's like how you see the world and stuff like that, and how you see
Hmm.
yourself. Um, he self-identifies as this thing,
Yeah.
and that in itself becomes a brand. Because this is what he
Yeah.
believes in.
And that's so I've kind of talked to you about some of the things that was turning me off of the Sykkuno in the past like year, maybe 2 years. I don't know, sometime. One of them was his lack of a stance on
Mm,
anything.
mm,
It
yeah.
just made him. It's like, especially as I'm becoming more and more politically conscious. It's like
Mm.
there was definitely a time in my early 20s, late teens where I was probably saw myself as apolitical. Um, you got to grow up. And it's like you got to stand for something.
Yeah.
And he was even a fan of people like XQC,
Golly.
and you can kind of excuse it as like because XQC before he became this right wing weirdo
Mm,
was a normal guy. He just played games, and he even had you could say progressive opinions on things.
mm,
So you get excused with things like that, but over time, it's like one, it's a feeling of stagnancy.
mm-hmm,
One of the appeals I think of watching Sykkuno, especially over a long period of time, was seeing his confidence grow as a person.
mm,
Um, he just got more into managing his appearance and wearing better clothes and just cultivating his aesthetic.
mm-hmm.
Um, and the way he speaks became a bit more natural and more confident. His humor grew.
Mm-hmm.
So that was just nice. That's just a nice thing to be a part of,
Yeah.
and watch. It's like watching a plant grow. That's funny if you know his branding, but over time it just felt so stagnant. Like once he naturally reached this point, a certain point, it seemed like he was just uninterested in working on himself. Sykkuno doesn't read.
Mm,
We just wonder. It's
yeah.
always a red flag for me if you don't read anything.
Mm-hmm.
He doesn't like to read.
Mm.
Sykkuno seems to shirk away from the thought of therapy,
Oof.
even given
Yeah.
his past. He plays like this little joke about being Asian and growing up Asian,
Mm.
and how Asians is not really therapy. And um, Sykkuno plays the same games.
Mm.
Not always. He'll pick up the latest thing, especially if it's cooperative. But for me, it was odd that someone who seems to enjoy games so much, um, he probably spends 50% of his waking hours gaming at
Mm.
least, uh, was so complacent in
Mm.
the types of games he plays. I don't know. For me, that's kind of speaks to um, like a there's a lack of like explorative heart.
Mm-hmm.
uh, he often, even as he progressed as a person, still kind of spoke down on himself in certain ways.
Mm.
Um, and when didn't see himself as as a type of person with the ability to do things. Oddly enough, with the fact that he's a multimillionaire, he's a smart guy, he's a reasonably attractive.
Mm.
Um, so seeing all these things kind of, especially for me, like I'm kind of into self actualization,
Mm-hmm.
even though I'm not the best at keeping up with all my hobbies and skills and refining my potential all the time. That's still very important to me.
Yeah.
Sykkuno doesn't like to travel.
Damn. That's crazy.
And I don't know, these things just spell out a type of person that if I knew him in real life, I'd shake that nigga. Like if
What
that
you
was my
doing?
friend,
Yeah.
I'd be pulling out of his house.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
um, and then another odd thing was that he was he gets oddly like he can't be challenged on certain things.
Mm.
He can't. He's not comfortable with being in the wrong.
Mm.
So someone in the chat can say something. It could be like dozens of people, positive or neutral,
Mm.
and if there is one negative comment, especially in recent years, he'll hone in on it
Mm.
and just sort of passive aggressively talk about it for maybe 5 minutes.
Goodness. Yeah, there's an insecurity going crazy.
Yeah, and it's like sometimes they're in the wrong. Sometimes it's like it's understandable that people don't like the backseat gamers, even though personally I don't care given how we grew up. Everyone's a backseat gamer in our household. Like it's fuck it. We ball. Get better, my
Yeah.
nigga. But sometimes it just seemed completely undeserving. And that just made the experience unattractive to watch.
Mm.
It made him feel less entertaining as because he didn't seem to want to grasp for anything. He didn't seem to have any sort of higher.
Yeah.
He was just I'm just
Just
a streamer.
coasting.
I'm just a gamer.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool. Like I
Mm.
just want to be comfortable. Like that's cool. Like sure that. At the same time, that's the lamest shit ever.
Yeah.
And I don't like to say that because I feel like people should be able to live their lives, and this world is so crazy. It's kind of understandable if you,
I mean,
on some emotional level, I understand people who want to live with their head in the sands,
mm-hmm.
but I can't respect it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Feels like a waste.
That is the exact feeling. That is the exact. It feels like a waste
Mm-hmm.
of a person with so much potential.
Mm-hmm.
Like Sykkuno blew up during the COVID era on Among Us.
Mm.
Social deception game.
Yeah.
Ironically.
Dun, dun, dun.
um, and a lot of it was just his keenness, his acuity, his ability to play into a character sometimes with like either being completely oblivious or being like the jester or being um, sort of melancholic,
Mm-hmm.
like sad boy stuff. And then he blew up again during like doing GTA roleplay as like
Mm.
a hacker because he has like I think a master's in math and or statistics.
Oh wow.
Like this is an intelligent guy.
Mm.
um, so you can see his analytical mind shine.
Mm-hmm.
So it's so sad. I don't.
Yeah.
It's like why? And then you worry now if he was applying that mind with how he interacts with these women, these
Mm-hmm.
girls, really.
Yeah.
Um, and it casts this darkness this
Mm-hmm.
over all of his interactions now with his majority female fan base,
Mm-hmm.
with his majority female friend group.
Mm.
uh,
Yeah.
sheesh.
That
Um,
is not good.
I wonder if he was like gamifying these relationships.
Mm.
and he was just trying to
I wouldn't be surprised.
find like the lowest common denominator, the easier way to get in.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Sykkuno. An
Damn.
unfortunate disappointment.
Yeah, some
I'm
shit, man.
I'm interested in seeing where he goes from here. I'm often like in my mind workshopping, trying to get into his head and imagine. Um, but he is someone who doesn't usually respond to drama.
Hmm.
I'm wondering if he would just disappear. I'm wondering if
Yeah, Cody
he'll.
Cole situation.
I don't know that.
Try to ignore the whole thing until people hopefully forget and then try to pop up randomly.
Maybe. Or he'll pop up under like a different name, a different like VTuber skin.
Mm-hmm.
I would like if he would address the situation though.
Yeah.
Um,
Them types.
yeah,
Not likely, unfortunately.
but you know, it gave me a lot of perspective. As someone who took up a major part of my life and was a source of comfort, there was like emotional entanglement. And when this popped off, I was just like, for like a day, I was like, oh my, probably not even a whole day, probably like a good 12 hours. I was like, oh my God.
Mm-hmm.
But then I keep seeing all these other sectors of the world shine through.
Mm.
And I was like, man, this is so small.
Yeah.
What's one of those sectors that was going on for you? Like, what was shining through in life? What was occupying your eyes?
Shoot. Honestly, just being out in the world, man. Touching grass. Being a real life solar punk nigga. As you saw, I've been out a lot last couple days.
Mm-hmm.
Just
Come
one
hold
thing after
tight.
another. Boy, oh boy. So that was a nice segue too. I gotta say that.
I'm working on it. I'm trying to be better as a podcaster.
That's a good
I'm also
shit.
going to be working on just being more lively.
Uh-huh.
You know, listening to,
That's what's
I
up.
want to
That's
be,
what's up.
I'm not a Sykkuno ass nigga. Like.
Yeah, at some point we gotta get serious about like posting these and all this stuff.
Yeah.
I feel like this is good to like practice though, because like the bar is much higher for like having a good podcast. But yeah, so I've been out there touching grass. I'm trying to remember what came first. Was it Tuesday? Damn, I gotta look at my calendar. I'd say the highlight for me was hanging out with Black Man Build folks. Really great group. I heard about them last year actually, but just kind of fell off my radar. And then somebody I met from the Grits and Net podcast. I'm in their
Like
Discord.
a Discord? Okay.
Yeah, they sent me a flyer for it, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna go check it out. That was a couple weeks ago, or a couple months ago at this point. So I've been to 3 meetings, and then this is the 4th I've been to. So this one they were doing their national I forgot what they call it. Basically like a national gathering. So all the, or maybe not all, but like a lot of the people from all the many different sites that they have up came over here in Atlanta because we're supposed to be restarting the Black Men Build Atlanta site, Atlanta hub, and it was just really cool, man. They had like this circle,
Me and my niggas.
and folks just talking about what we've been feeling and what we've been thinking about and all this other stuff. And then we had a canvas event on Saturday. So went out to this is my first actual canvassing event, I think. But went out to the neighborhood, just door by door, knocking on people's doors, and telling them that we have a hub, and come through for community. And that is a Malcolm X event they're doing on May 2nd. And
Pornhub has ruined the word hub.
Oh yeah.
I kept thinking like, why does that word sound weird to me right now?
I wasn't even thinking about it. Damn. Oh, that's funny. But yeah. That canvassing event was actually really fun because it reminded me of like, when we was at our old houses and you had like those you had other people come through your door. It would be like evangelists. I don't know if you recall, but the grandparents probably kind of used to like debate with the evangelists and stuff like that, or the what do you call them?
The Jehovah's
Yeah,
Witnesses.
the Jehovah's Witness, stuff like that. Um, or you just have random people come to your door for other stuff. And I was just thinking, man, how nice would it have been if we had like just some regular niggas just be like, hey, we're doing community center over here. If you want to check it out.
I'm one of those niggas that would debate them. I've done before.
I
or
think they
I
would have enjoyed it.
or I just talked.
Yeah, I think they would have enjoyed it. Because the biggest thing that was frustrating about the event, about the canvassing, was how many people just did not come to the door, even though you can hear they're inside. It's so fucking weird. Um, and then what was really interesting though was when people came to the door and they were like so thrown off. They was like, "Who? Would you what?" Like they look suspicious and stuff like that. And you just
Yeah,
like, "Hey,
people
I
people
just
aren't
got."
used to being neighborly anymore.
Yeah,
Like it's
yeah,
it's an intrusion. What are
yeah,
you doing?
yeah. Especially when it's just a bunch of black men. Like it's just
Yeah,
it.
I don't know if I fear that,
Uh huh.
but I am wary of it.
Yeah, and that's sad. It's like damn. And we were rolling deep too, so it was like six of us on the street.
All these
So it's like
what the hell these men
we
doing in my yard?
right. We were pairing up. It was two dudes. We went, two to each door, and then we had a security person on each side of the street, just in case anything popped off. Um, and it was really well structured on our part. I'm giving a lot of props for that. But it was just so interesting where you come to the door and people are like, "Hey, what you about?" And you tell them and like, "Oh wow, good, that's amazing," and it's just flipped around and and people would get excited and stuff like that. Especially the older folks, the elders, they would be like,
Older
"Oh, we
folks,
need that,"
yeah,
the young kids,
they love that.
they love that so much.
Y'all doing good out here.
Yeah, yeah. So it was really fulfilling.
Old people have no perspective about the world. They don't know that good things happen in the world still.
Yeah, yeah. Um, but it's because they just seen so much go down. Like especially where we were at, where every other almost it wasn't every other house, but it felt like almost every other house was like an Airbnb or like a private equity
Not the B and
renting
B.
out, getting gentrified and shit like that. Like you literally see a regular ass house that was built in like the 60s or whatever, and there's big ass mansion looking house that was recently redone, nobody in it or something like that.
At least it's not one of them goddamn modern homes. The boxes, sharp angles. Like
It was, yeah, it was stuff like
sometimes
that.
those two.
Yeah,
I hate
sometimes
them.
those too.
I'll be pissed off if you put one of those near me. Like
Yeah, yeah, it looks so wrong, like juxtaposed with like a
yeah.
regular looking house. I'm like,
The
what
least
is
you could
this?
do is keep the culture
Exactly,
of the
exactly.
surroundings going. Just up it a bit.
Yeah, but it was a cool experience though all around. And I'm really hoping that we keep up the momentum with just the Atlanta folks in the coming weeks. So I'm looking forward to that. And then we went back to their like meeting center, and we basically discussed the whole thing. So something I really appreciated about them as well is the level of feedback and like self critique they had, where they actually talked about the good things as well as the bad things, and what they could have done better. And it was really good to see that too. Healthy debates going on and stuff like that. And then we did a reading of like so they're working on some like political education material, and did like group readings of everything and discuss from different viewpoints and how we can improve that and all that other stuff. So it was all around, it was really good, man. And it felt it felt so, I guess, healing, because I realized that I've never been around so many black men who are like cool. Yeah, like smart niggas, radical niggas, just like on their shit, but still funny, still chill, you know. It was just like, damn, I miss this. Like I've never had this, for real. Um, so yeah, it was dope. It was dope.
That's good.
Uh, And then in addition to that, went back over to the family farm I talked about last time. So we built up another layer of the super adobe structure. Um, so that was
Did you
cool.
mention why it's called that?
I don't know. Probably not. But basically, real quick, it's adobe, meaning they build it out of natural building materials. In
Mm.
this case, clay, like the actual Georgia clay that we have, because our Georgia clay is actually really good for natural building, because it has a good mixture of like dirt and sand. Adobe. In other places like California, stuff like that, where they were trying to do this stuff before, they had to like use a whole bunch of cement and sand. But here you could just use the clay that you dig out the ground and shit. Um, and it's a super adobe structure because it's meant to be like an actual tiny house. So the end result is going to be like a 10 foot wide, like 50, no, 5 foot wide. No, yeah, the radius is 5 foot. So yeah, 10 foot wide and 10 foot tall. Um, no, I'm definitely getting it wrong. It is 5 foot wide, 10 foot tall. Yeah, a little tiny house. Um, so yeah, it's a lot of work, but it's really cool, and I'm hoping it turns out really well because I could definitely see this as a thing that we do more of, especially to help with like housing and stuff like that, and to just have a more communal building process where you don't have to depend on like importing materials from this, that, and the other, and
Mm.
cutting down a bunch of trees in order to build a house. You can literally just dig
Get
up
out the
clay,
mud.
get out the mud. you know.
So I didn't know that adobe was just the name of natural building material, pretty much,
Yeah,
or
yeah.
a type of natural building. That's crazy. I
Mm-hmm.
thought it was, I don't know.
yeah.
I'm only used to hearing it in relation to like the program. That's funny.
Mm. Yeah.
I see why they
Yeah,
called it
for
that.
real. But yeah, it was really cool, man. Um, I know I did something else, but I forgot it. But those are the highlights for me, and been showing through some good stuff. Um, Let me see what else I got up here. I got a bunch of more events I'm coming up with this weekend too. This weekend gonna go hard.
What you doing this weekend?
So this group, or I guess community center, I call it that, community center, mutual aid center, called Project South. They're doing a couple events from Thursday to Saturday. So on Thursday they're gonna have somebody from the Congo come over, where they're talking about some films that they're working on. On Friday they're doing African like dance, drum dance type of thing. And then on top of that, a friend of mine who I've been working with is going to be doing his Black Land Bus, or their Black Land Bus build days. So basically, building up this school bus they bought and are refurbishing in order to turn it into like a essentially a mobile mutual aid center. So it's inspired by a thing that Black people used to do back in the early 1900s called the Jessup agriculture wagon or something like that, where they would basically go around and help Black farmers, with their farms and things like that. So basically bringing that back, and then on Saturday, doing a town hall with the Strike Black. So and all that situated, and then the week after that, I'm doing a workshop. So I'm finally gonna be talking about my building better future stuff with some folks. So that's gonna be exciting as well.
Yeah, I might go. I might go to with y'all to the town hall thing.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. I think, at least I hope so. Yeah,
I don't look for things to be interesting. I try not to think. I
have
try not to think too
expectations.
hard.
Yeah,
Yeah, um, that tends to bring me anxiety.
yeah,
Just the anticipation of things. Or I guess there's also the failed expectations thing as well.
yeah, yeah.
That's usually
That's fair.
not too much of a worry because when I'm going, I'm expecting to have my own fun, or I'm expecting to find my own points of interest, even if I had to stare at pavement. That's just I don't know. I just entertain myself.
Yeah,
Boom, boom, boom.
I feel that.
Um, and so we have all these things, these like little building blocks of life, I think, to build our better futures. That's plenty, or you do at least. Um, it's fun. It's fun to just. It's it's kind of like how I feel about or how I felt about Sykkuno.
Mm.
It's cool to see that progress. So interesting seeing what comes of it.
Yeah, yeah. See things coming together.
Yeah.
I try to both like be hopeful and not too hopeful. It's like I want to focus on like, okay, what can I do now? Because I get too restless. Of like I want to do everything. I want to change the world right now. But you got to pace yourself. You got to do what you can where you can, and be in it for the long haul. So I'm trying not to burn myself out, but also trying to push myself beyond my boundaries, just enough to grow. It's a little balancing act.
The whole world trying to figure out boundaries right now.
Hmm.
Have you been paying attention to what's going on with Iran?
Oh, buddy, I've heard here and there. I was trying to catch up earlier this weekend or today, stuff like that. I heard the whole shit with the
Ceasefire?
the ceasefire. It wasn't a ceasefire.
It broke in like a day.
Yeah.
Because apparently one of the key points was that Lebanon was included in the ceasefire.
Mm-hmm.
Israel did not respect it.
Yeah.
Even though there was evidence that the White House sent Pakistan their formal address about it, which included Lebanon,
Mm.
and Pakistan and Iran both say that in the meets, like that was discussed.
Mm-hmm.
U.S. has chosen to act like it didn't happen.
Goodness, man. Fucking garbage.
And so I think it was like 300 civilian deaths occurred in one of the largest
Sheesh.
bombings Israel has done on Lebanon yet.
Disgusting, man.
To the point where I
Ugh.
believe that Apple Maps has erased villages.
Yeah, yeah. They were trying to. I think it was the White House or whatever was trying to do a moratorium on like satellite upleaks, so like or satellite viewings. Be like, oh, don't update. Don't let them see what's going on over there.
Disgusting.
It's like it's insane, man.
So of
It's
course,
insane.
Iran has once again uh, affirmed the closing of the port of Hormuz. One thing to correct: last week or whatever. I don't think we're. I want to post this today, so it's gonna be fucked up.
Okay.
But I remember I said they get the toll money. But apparently, they're gonna split with Oman.
Mm.
I think that's the name for it, or how you pronounce it. So there's a sense of balance there. I just wanted to clarify my point. Um, so yeah, once again, the Port of Hormuz is going to be completely closed, even though our administration says their military has completely been destroyed. Somehow they can still control the Port of Hormuz. And in response to this, we've decided to blockade the Port of Hormuz.
Fucking stupid. Man.
We just gotta
Like
flex
what?
our muscles. Like, you can't close it on us. We gonna
We
close it on
first.
you.
Just the most ridiculous shit, man.
the
Just
more
childish.
the more rational minds in the administration posit that this is like a pressuring tactic because China gets a solid amount of their oil through the Port of Hormuz from Iran and these GCC nations.
Yeah.
However, I gotta look up. I gotta make sure because there's like people who talk about news from different nations but aren't like official sources.
Mm.
Sometimes they're accurate. Sometimes it's more like posing as that thing. I don't know how to put it.
Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like they're not the official thing, but they're posing as it with convincing enough branding that if you
Mm,
don't look twice,
yeah.
then it's like
There's
okay.
so much propaganda going on, man. It's
Yeah.
insane.
But apparently, according to some sources I've seen, China's like, if it's for us, leave it alone.
Mm.
It's out of our business.
Mm-hmm.
You could play with all that blockading business, all these little
Yeah.
niggas. So I'm curious to see. I think I would love to see that
Mm-hmm.
to someone who will just stand up to this bullshit.
Yeah.
Because even though, of course, we don't want
Mm-hmm.
uh, the collapse of oil so quickly,
Yeah.
we would want this to be a measured thing
Mm-hmm.
with a plan for replacement.
Yeah.
Because there's going to be untold amounts of suffering
Yeah.
as shortages arise in a lot of these. I think a lot of these Asian countries primarily, which would then cause shortages around the world in other industries.
Yeah.
Um, of course, I don't want to see that, but I think it's important just for the world and especially Americans to see
Mm-hmm.
that someone could just take a stand.
Right. Hey. What?
I don't like that nigga like
Why
that.
you come on here just yelling? Get out of here.
Punk ass nigga. Lame ass nigga. Like really. Like hoe ass nigga, bro. That's the thing with cats, man. That's the thing with cats.
I just love crying.
That one in particular.
He's just very ornery.
Little baby ass boy. Grown ass child. Sykkuno ass nigga. That might be a thing. It's unfortunate I'm not more active on social media. Like I don't have a presence.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I think about that. Becoming
Just troll
a
people.
person. Yeah. Yeah, but it's just good to see on the world stage someone taking that stance and proving once again that America isn't undefeatable. Because unfortunately, the world kind of works on schoolyard principles still.
Yeah. Which is crazy because again, America's not won a war since World War II. So like, what?
I mean, we won, but it just the win like it wasn't worth the candle. It took so
Yeah.
goddamn
Yeah.
long and so much money and so many lives. It's just like, what was the point of it?
Mm-hmm. What do they call it?
Yeah.
Pyrrhish? No. What's the term for that? Pyrrhic.
Yes.
There we go. Pyrrhic victory.
Pyrrhic. I think.
Had to bring out my high school vocabulary. A Pyrrhic victory at best.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's one of those things where, as terrible as everything is, we're hoping that we can get something good out of this in terms of like climate reduction, like
Yeah.
like climate harm reduction in terms
Yeah.
of less oil and more people going towards electricity and things like that. Not to mention, a lot of people have used this as an opportunity to divest and diversify from oil into a number of other renewables and things like that, which not only helps with the climate but also helps with their individual, power, right? Mm-hmm. To be able to stand on their own.
Yeah.
Because that's another thing that's so fucking weird about the time we live in is that we're on a house of cards and that like everything is so interdependent and so globalized.
Yes.
That if one thing goes wrong, you got a global problem. That's not good. Like you don't want to. We and it's crazy because we know this with investing. Like that's the whole point of investing is like diversify your assets. So why the hell did we do this with our entire supply chain? Like it makes no sense.
It's because capitalism doesn't care about
Yeah.
the future.
Yeah.
It cares about the year to year profit margins.
Yeah.
That shit going up still, bro. It's like what?
Yeah.
What you think I'm making money for the next generation? No. Like these billions, these billions ain't gonna make themselves. Like, what are you talking about? And it's because if things aren't like pillaged aggressively, you can't be this sort of
Yeah.
multi-billionaire.
Yeah.
Like you can't be one of these crazy fucking tycoons who
Yeah.
own.
Literally, the only way to make $1 billion is to like, you know, fuck over a bunch of people.
Yeah, but not just that. It just requires so much control.
Yeah, you have to monopolize. That means some sort of means of production somewhere.
And with that, that means that we don't actually want to improve things. If it works okay and we have control of this thing here, why would we?
Or a day.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It costs more money to innovate and
Yep.
create a different industry, and then that will in turn sort of it diversifies the portfolio. It leaves more room for other people to grab and grasp, and all of a sudden, what you've invested in, diminishes in
Yep.
value.
Because the actual competition, capitalists do not like competition. They
That free market shit is not
don't
free.
give a shit about the free market. uh, but yeah, another thing that's been very interesting I just saw was that the Ireland folks, the Irish, they were going they were doing some shit because the gas prices and things like that, and oil
What they doing over here?
limitations have been hitting them. So they blockaded apparently like a whole bunch of like streets and everything like that. They're going on strikes and this, that, and the
Oh,
other, to the point where like England is like losing out on billions because they're trying to they're trying to get them back working and you know fix the oil pricing, but they can't do shit because they don't have the supply. So it's like if this is happening in Europe, you know what's happening in other places like in Africa that you don't hear much about, but are highly dependent on oil. What's happening in many other places around the world, and it's very scary. And we just you just hope that folks like the working people can come out on top from all this.
yeah.
But it is a time of tumultuousness, and it really has been for a while, to be honest with you. But now you see it just bubbling up even more to the surface, which is always scary, but also a little excited
Yeah.
if you ready. If you ready,
Chaos is a ladder, they say.
that's interesting.
You have heard that before?
I have not heard that.
I don't. That might just be a rapper who said that. Ransom.
Chaos is a ladder. That's wild.
Yeah, it's a fire album. What was I gonna say? I was thinking last week how like the culture of America is so similar to the lifestyle that Donald Trump lived, in the sense that he could just cause all these problems, but the effects of just multi-generational wealth
Yeah, I
allows
feel
him
it.
to just shirk responsibility,
Yeah.
or just completely ignore it, or fall and trip and fall into more profit. And there's a lot of similarities with that in how America works, um, with all their interventionist policies that lead to blowback. But there's
Yep.
still the wealth is the strongest. So who gonna check us on it really?
And that's also what's really scary though, because like at this point, everybody knows America is the one causing all this shit.
Yep.
So
Yep.
at what point do people be just like, you know what, America, can get gone?
You know that meme with Tony Stat.
Yes, that's exactly what I was thinking.
Black people,
America,
but
you know. That's
you
gonna be the new way.
How do you say his name again?
Tony. I always want to say Statovici, but it's
Yes,
not. I think it's like Satovsky or something like that.
something. Statman.
He's a funny dude though. He cool as hell.
Did you hear about JD Vance for some reason trying to like sway the election in Hungary?
Oh
Only for the
yeah,
guy
yeah,
he was championing to lose like overwhelmingly.
yeah. I was like, what in the hell?
I don't
Why are y'all even over there,
I don't
bro?
know. I don't know the significance of Hungary, bro.
Just anywhere where they can find some goddamn alt right people, some dictators. I mean, at this point, you have to be able to see the bullshit, man. Like, there's literally nothing over there except for a damn dictator that was taking over shit, trying to destroy everything.
They hate that nigga. Like, he's trying to get reelected. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Like, sometimes it feels like JD Vance is deliberately positioning himself to take on embarrassment.
Yeah. The
To
fall
be in a
guy.
vector of embarrassment.
Yeah.
And part of me wonders, like, is he like playing some double agent game?
Right.
Is he
kind of
trying?
strategy is this?
Is he just trying to make them look bad? Is he trying to position himself as like the not necessarily the opposing party, but
Mm.
the a more palatable branch of that party.
Yeah.
So that when Trump's side dies off, he can take the reins.
I definitely think that's somewhere in the play
Yeah.
because we have to realize he was not brought in by Trump. He was brought in by Peter Thiel.
Yeah, I've been seeing stuff
Right.
about that.
And Thiel's whole game is to end democracy, which is crazy. But
These niggas
these
breathe,
niggas
man. That's
is
crazy.
insane, man. Like, you know, they literally want to reestablish some sort of monarchy, a tech monarchy, some bullshit like that.
Hold on, you sound like Professor.
Professor J.
Hold on.
I know. That's why it's like Jay.
You
But
know.
like, it's sad because they literally said it. Like, you can go look up the what's it called, the Tech Manifesto or whatever that bullshit Andreessen Horowitz put out, which pissed me the fuck off. But they said it out their own mouths. They're like, "Oh, democracy is overplayed. Blah 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 blah. We need kings and shit."
It's just so arrogant. And what's funny is I feel the same way sometimes. It's like, not you niggas are the worst.
Right, like, not y'all.
Like, I don't know if I said this on the podcast, but I have like this theory, this sci-fi theory of like people born and bred and raised to be kings. And I can imagine like a complicated system to where it's kind of like what is it, eugenics?
Yeah.
Kind of crazy, but I can see an ideal of where it's like a class of people who's just heavily regulated.
That's how they tried to develop it. That's literally how they worked. That's why they were so inbred. They didn't have the technology at the time, and so they were just like, "Oh, let's keep it all in the family." And that ended up fucking everything up even more.
Because for some reason they thought their blood was precious instead of like specific features.
Because it's the same thing. Like, that's what people don't realize about like hierarchy and shit like that. Like, you think logically that you can breed, or create a class of higher echelon people, but by doing that in and of itself, you make it brittle. Because the very thing that makes people more intelligent is not being insular. It's this diversity. It's having to deal with so many different chaos, essentially, right? And be able to come out from there. And any sort of system that you put in place to try and get the smartest people on top inevitably backfires. Right? That's why the Greeks and the Romans, they fell off with that because they had the same ideas. They was like, oh, philosophers, not only you have to be a great thinker, but you have to be physically fit. And they will wrestle each other and shit like that. And logically, it sounds like, oh yeah, that sounds like it will make for great people. Nah.
It was great for a time. They were doing it good for a time.
For some people, Yeah.
I heard sometimes that nigga, one of the niggas, Aristotle ass nigga was like, you trying to debate me? You step to the court.
Wrestle.
You better get in the sands, my nigga.
Exactly.
It's so funny.
It's really funny.
It's just the funny. It's cool at the same time.
It is.
Even though there's obvious flaws there, but it's like the mix of knuckle dragger and like elevated. But Elijah, maybe next time we'll do it better.
And that's it. We know what to do now.
Maybe
But
next time.
And I'll be honest with you. I actually would like to live in a future where somebody can experiment with that. Like, if you believe you can make that work, let me see it. But the only thing, it has to be completely voluntary. Don't force anybody to be under your shit. No empire building. No indoctrinating young kids. You gotta wait until people are old enough where their brains are, built out, and you gotta convince them to join your bullshit. And then let's see if it works. That's the free market I'm talking about. Like, but the problem is nobody wants it, or I'm gonna say nobody, but these niggas don't want to do that because I
In
feel like
sense.
secretly they know that shit not gonna work. They know you gotta indoctrinate people from a young age and all this other bullshit in order to even make people want to believe in something, want to try something like that.
I
Because they
saw
don't
this
believe in it so
video
far.
of Sam Altman saying, "I think one day AI is going to destroy the world, but for now, we'll build some very
Yeah,
good
this niggas
companies."
is stupid, bro. Just disgusting. Oh, okay, I thought that was my battery. But yeah, man, it's like Altman's a whole nother other case. I'm not gonna get into that right now, but uh, the whole AI shit is insane too. Every time I turn around, it's more bullshit. Like recently, they had this new
Mythos.
yeah, Mythos
I saw
coming
a
out.
video on that.
Some straight bullshit. Like, I mean, don't get me wrong. There's some interesting things, of course. Um,
I feel like so they want to utilize this thing, of course, in positive ways or profitable ways,
yeah,
but at the same time, it seems very Pandora's boxy.
yeah, yeah. And as always, the fact is that they don't want to. They don't want social change for real, and that's what is going to be required for this technology to actually be good for the people. Is that, as always, like, tools are not going to fix things. Tools just reinforce the things that's already here, and or makes more opportunities for other things to occur. But if those tools are just you know reinforcing the current structure, then it's just accelerating the current structure, right, rather than actually solving problems. And like, there was this supposed study. It was really just a marketing piece for Anthropic, but supposed study that the people who had more time with the Anthropic Claude bot or whatever, were more productive and were able to get more things done or whatever than the people who don't use it or the people who were new to it. And throughout the whole thing, they don't say what they were productive at doing.
Yeah, the same thing I was thinking. Like, what's the
So,
quality of the
like, what are they
product?
doing? And like 9 times out of 10 is like sending more marketing emails and shit like that, like more spam and shit like that, more uh, starting up a business to do more scams. Like I think the other day they was like, oh, this is the first $1 billion AI business, and it was like, I don't even know what the business was. Like, it was just bullshit. Um, like, none of these people are solving the hard problems. None of these people are curing cancer. Like, you got the actual doctors trying to use AI for cancer or for medical things, but none of that. That's not what's getting profit. That's not what's getting the news. What's getting the news is these other like scams and stuff like that. Like, have you heard of what's it called? Open Claw, I think it was called. Or no, Claw Book.
Mm-mm.
I don't know, something like that. It was supposed to be a social media completely by AI,
What was the point of that?
where exactly right. But it was in the news cycle for a little bit because it was like, oh, on this social media where only AI lives, they're over there talking about how they're gonna take over the world and stuff like this. And it turns out it was just people who were basically automating their own messages. Like, it was people at the end of it, not the actual AI, talking amongst each other. And it's a lot of stuff like that. It's a lot of like smoke and mirrors that are just like hyping shit up, um, to try and get the more funding and things like that. And even things with interesting use cases, like with Mythos, where they discovered a ton of day zero security patches or security issues in software. The fact is that they can't solve all those problems. Like, they can't execute on any of this stuff because, again, once again, it's a social problem, right? It's the fact that we're not hiring enough people, we're not training enough people, we're not, you know, educating enough people to actually solve these problems that AI is supposedly, being able to point out. So they claim they're trying to create the tools so the AI can solve these problems, but like the AI can't solve the problems because it can't contextualize them. It doesn't understand what the world. It doesn't understand the world for real.
Mm.
Like there's so many issues around it, and in the process of doing all that, you're destroying the world with all this damn warehouses and data centers and shit like that. Like it's
Have you seen what they're saying about Mythos? And it's like supposedly it passed a few benchmarks of like rationalizing, I think.
yeah,
And there was the whole cybersecurity
yeah,
debugging thing
yeah,
where it was able to find bugs that no one has found in ever.
yeah. But that's what I mean. So when they found that, well, first of all, what was interesting is that some people were critiquing that a lot of the quote unquote bugs it found are things that that literally cannot be executed on. Like
Mm.
it can't be. They're not actual vulnerabilities because if you try to do that in the real world, like try to maneuver these things or try to damn keep using my losing my words. Whatever. But basically, if you tried to use the bug, right, it wouldn't work, right? Because you had to do a bunch of weird shit in order to even get it to work. Like, it has to be a very, 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 very specific set of coincidences for half of these bugs to even like actually turn out into a real issue.
Mm.
Now, that's not to say that it hasn't uncovered some real issues. It has. Um, but it turns out, in order to do that, they had to rerun the thing like thousands of times. So it wasn't even efficient at doing that. Like, it wasn't like they turned it on and it instantly found these things. They literally like was rerunning this simulation so many times, and that in and of itself costs a lot of resources. And
Yeah.
for those same amount of resources, you could have just hired people to find issues. Like half the time, a lot of these issues are things that people already actually do know of, but the companies for whatever reason are not prioritizing solving those issues because of funding or the profit range or scope or time or whatever, right? Um, so again, it's like what is going to come of this? Like who does this empower? Who does this actually help? And what does this help them do? We're a far ways from this technology actually helping people to solve these problems because they're not really designed with the intent of working alongside people, because of their black box nature. So it's such a weird situation
What do
because
you mean by that? Their black box nature.
because like so in order to work with these tools, right, in a way that is collaborative, you have to understand how the machine works essentially, right? You have to be able to say, okay, this is how it came to this answer, and therefore I
It's
can.
opaque.
Yeah, right now it's opaque. If you
The
don't
underlying
understand,
logic of it
yeah,
and how it comes to those conclusions.
basically, yeah. If you don't understand how it came to those conclusions, you can't really trust the conclusions
Mm.
because it could be wrong, and it has been wrong
Yeah.
many a times. And so it's still up in the air whether or not like half the things that you're doing with it are actually useful. Because if you can't trust the answer, if you can't trust the outcome, then how can you actually work with it?
Mm.
So that's why a lot of the use cases that people are using it for tend to be sort of gray area or like typical capitalism bullshit, because that's what it's good at. That's what it's trained on. And in that space where a lot of capitalism is today, you don't need to understand the problem because you're not actually solving problems. You're just right. You're just trying to do things that will exploit situations in order to make a profit. Um, so yeah, it's such a weird situation because you can, if you work really hard at it, if you're in a very specific subject matters or areas, you can get some value out of it. Like there is some interesting medical applications people have been using it for, um, but those seem to be few and far between.
Mm. Well. That's good to know. It's. I was watching a Hank Green video on it, and he had
Mm-hmm.
like a cybersecurity lady
Yeah,
on,
I saw that one too.
and they seemed a lot more worried about it, or um, a lot more optimistic about its capabilities.
Of course, they're gonna be optimistic. That's what I realized too about like, especially like Hank Green and stuff like that, like the liberal types. They're gonna be optimistic because like they still believe in this society. They believe that you can make some winnings out of this society, you know, despite all the writing on the wall, in my opinion. But
So when you say liberal in this derogatory manner, it's because they still believe in the qualities of the establishment.
yeah, there's just like they essentially believe in the machine. They just think you got to fix it a little bit.
Mm,
Yeah.
okay. Yeah. I did some homework on that too because I was always confused. Like,
Yeah, yeah.
what side are they on? Why are some people like why do right wingers call people liberal derogatively,
Yeah.
and people who I'd say are on the left also call people liberal
Yeah.
derogatively? Um, yeah, and I kind of like learned the history of liberal and how it changed throughout the years, and
Hmm.
um, yeah, it's interesting.
Yeah, I try not to use it too often. Sometimes it kind of slips through because I'm just like sometimes it's just
Yeah,
apropos. It's just, it's just the word to use. But yeah,
I'm always worried about the way these titles are just used to like hand wave entire swaths of beliefs.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
You know,
That's fair.
it kind of diminishes nuance.
Definitely. Yeah, it's just that generally I feel like people who tend to be optimistic about AI without actually mentioning what can be done to make it better,
Mm.
I view them with a very the high sense of skepticism and like problematic nature. Like I think in that interview, she was saying how, and it makes sense, but it was still very concerning. She was like, I used to worry about this stuff, but now I was like, oh, we're all gonna die anyways,
But I mean, like that's facts
I
though.
mean, it is, but it's also concerning because it's like, yeah, but I don't want to die like that, Like,
Yeah.
at the very least, can we not die through predictable things? um, but yeah, I think I always like to tell people too. Like, I think you can have interesting, like I consider myself a technologist because I firmly believe like technology is one of the things that makes humans human. And what always makes me so frustrated about it is I feel like, especially in today's day and age, technology is seen as a thing that just happens to people and not something that we as everyday people can take hold of, and guide in ways that are important to us
Mm.
and are relevant for us. And my one of my biggest gripes with AI, so-called AI, is not only that it's not AI as we've commonly imagined it, but also that it further takes that away, right? It further creates this mentality that technology is something that's just happening to you and you can't really do anything about it. You gotta just have to deal with whatever they give you. Um, and I always try to get people to be like, "Oh, this is you can create better technologies." And some of that comes from working in solidarity and mutual aid and all this other stuff, and working together to do stuff. But also a lot of it comes from just having a personal relationship with a lot of technology that is not dictated by whatever the trends are, whatever the hype cycle is finding what you find interesting and trying to customize to your personal needs, finding your own use cases, being clear about the problems that in your life and finding the tools that will help with those problems, and so on and so forth. But yeah, ugh, it makes it hard. I'm not gonna lie.
I think I want to talk about one more Sykkuno related thing and then music, and we can call it. We
Yeah,
kind
about an
of
hour and a half.
So there's this thing with the way terminology is used on Twitter that bothers me. Well, there's two things. One is that I understand that he like broke trust in like a major way to the point where you can't. It's hard to say if his advances are just innocent now, or if it is always underlying some underlying sexual manipulation going on. But it's times where it seems very obviously just a normal conversation, or he's like inviting somebody to just play a game, like, and that's just where the conversation ends.
Yeah.
And they're not making it to like, oh, he was trying to get at me. I'm so happy. I didn't. It's like, and what's bad about this is that it distracts from the actual conversation.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just a very me thing. When there's people who he clearly was in a relationship with,
Yeah.
or and a girl who is clearly cheating on, who should be getting all the real attention,
Yep. Yep.
and now you're just clout demoning pretty much.
Yeah.
And now, which is the mindset of somebody on the internet, it sort of cleanses his actions, because now you're gonna have people who are like, oh, I'm gonna be on his side now, because people can't. It's hard for people to hold that nuance, I think, in their minds sometimes,
Yeah.
where we can't say this is wrong without also feeling like an attachment again to him and his side.
Yeah.
I'm using quotation marks, finger quotation marks. And then two, sometimes people like victim is used. The word victim is used. What do you think about that?
I mean, it. I think it makes sense, but sometimes we don't know what that means.
Yeah.
You know, for better and worse. I mean, for like on the good and bad side, like there's a reason we have that word, but if you're not actually recognizing what it means to be a victim, then you're gonna misuse the term, and because of that, the term becomes watered down. Right?
Yeah.
Like it almost doesn't mean anything anymore. Um, because and by that, like if like there is an actual victim here, right? Like the primarily, I would say, you know, probably most likely his significant other who he was cheating on many times over, um, and anybody who was like abused in the situation, who was what do you call it, predated, predator. You know, that's a term. That's why you call it victimized, right? Like the
I would
people.
say people who he manipulated.
Yeah. Well, because I don't know if there's any like more serious sexual abuse going on. It goes beyond just manipulation.
Yeah, but at the same, then I wouldn't want to use the word predated.
Yeah, I just wasn't sure what the word was. Victimized. That's what would be the term to use for
You
the
think so?
victims. Like if they were victimized, like if they were the subject of the abuse.
Even if there's no evidence of it.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like we don't know what is going on, but if they were, they would be the victims, right?
Yeah.
That's all I'm trying to say there. Um,
I think because when people say that, it implies that there are victims, which then I question what is the victim in this scenario,
yeah,
and if is that word, is that an appropriate word? Like, is that, or is it like in? I don't want to call it an over exaggeration because that feels like, um, it feels diminishing. But I'm also not. It feels uncomfortable to diminish the word victim for someone who is just like a target of fuckboy.
yeah, 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 like what I'm saying is that I would only use that term for people who were actually abused,
Yeah.
right? Versus if you're just trying to use that term for anybody that just had a weird situation.
Mm-hmm.
And I think people who use the term for just any weird situation that they feel like was going on without actually asking the person in question, what their experience was.
Mm.
That's where the term loses its power and becomes frustrating because like now you're not listening to the person, like you just said, like people are just throwing shit out and not actually you know checking in on the person that had that experienced the most that may be an actual victim essentially, right? They're not asking them what's going on there and how they can be supported, um, and instead focusing on him and all these weird situations, and that's where the word and the concept kind of loses its veracity.
Would you call his partner a victim?
Yeah,
Yeah, I think I'd say so too.
being cheated on is
Like that's emotional abuse,
yeah,
especially when it's
many
like,
times over and shit.
from what I've seen, there's been people have told her about things, and he's kind of like either brushed it off or maybe even gaslit her on it.
Yeah,
So then you're yeah,
yeah.
that's abusive. It's emotionally abusive. Um, was that all? Hmm. I think everything else is like an offshoot of that. The weirdness of people who knew him either directly or more tangentially. What's the word
Mm-hmm.
for that?
Yeah,
Something like that.
tangentially.
Sort of having to now make public statements and
Mm.
the feeling of performance. Sometimes it's just honest. Sometimes it's like kind of have to tilt your head at it.
Yeah,
I don't know.
had a PR team look at it.
I don't think it hasn't felt that like cleansed.
Mm-hmm.
Not always. I don't know. It's just I think it's just weird in general because this just isn't what it's not something that would normally occur on a public stage.
Mm.
You know. Um, Let me see. Make sure I've gotten out all my Sykkuno things, so I don't have to come back to that again. Dum, 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 dum. Dum, 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 dum.
I didn't write down my musics. I mean, I don't really have much on that end. We'll get to there.
Yeah, I think that's it. Um, in the world of music, though, I listened to the Ray album again. It's just a good time. I tried listening to it while I was working out.
Oh,
It's
yes.
energizing. Um, and I kind of honed in more, a lot more on the lyrics, especially for like the first 70-ish%. And I came to the conclusion that the cringiness for me might more so be from like a sort of cognitive dissonance. Like it seems like a lot of the album is meant to sort of glorify and make a theater of everyday life, positive affirmations, getting ready to go out with the girls, and dealing with men who are kind of Sykkuno-ish. um, so it can feel very odd sometimes to have these very I don't want to call them shallow, not shallow. Shallow isn't the right word, but very mundane things placed on soundtracks that would be in like a spy movie
Mm.
or like a Hans. She got Hans Zimmer on one of these hoes.
Oh
Like
wow, that's
it's
dope.
cinematic. It's big theater sound sometimes. I'm like,
Mm.
well, that's interesting. I love
Mm.
the production, but it's something there.
I just feel like it works. The
It
message.
works sometimes, but sometimes I'm like, this feels like bad Disney
Mm.
or Yeah, sometimes bad Disney, or it just feels odd
Mm-hmm.
to juggle these things. But overall, it's an amazing listen when you don't think too much, or you don't have my sorts of sensibilities, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I listened to Wale the Sage. I assume his name is pronounced as. I think you played him before.
Hmm.
He had this little EP, I think, short track. He's just so nice, so smooth. I don't even know what he's talking about, like, because he has a faster flow and it's melodic. I don't know if I'd say words slur together, but they're not like carefully enunciated. I wouldn't say, or at least not usually. But it just made for a good listen. Like I'm gonna go back to it and try to hone in on the lyrics. But I enjoyed it a lot. Was there anyone else? Who else have I been listening to? Let's see.
Interesting. I just listened to Mick Jenga's last album just to try and catch up on his stuff.
His like
I'm not Mick Jenkins. Sorry, goodness. Isaiah Rashad.
Wesley Joseph. Oh, you
I'm
haven't
trying to catch up.
you haven't heard The House is Burning?
No.
That's
Oh
crazy.
no. I when I was listening to it, I realized I have heard a lot of these songs.
Yeah.
But yeah,
That bumps. It's just
been a
he's
minute.
so good at finding the good pocket. Like he
Mm-hmm.
he is a very vibey dude. But he can still bring great lyricism. Did you fuck with it? How'd you like it?
It was definitely cool.
Maybe
Felt familiar. I realized that I guess one of the reasons why I wasn't super big on him is because he feels more R&B ish
Mm.
than rap. Like you say, he can rap. He has his pockets and stuff like that, but he does have that more R&B feel. Um, I feel like I have a little bit more patience for that now, so I may give it another shot. I really like that single he had so far. Same shit.
Yeah, it gave me
That was fun.
what is it? That Baby Keem song,
Mm,
Interstate 95,
yeah,
Highway 95, one of them.
yeah.
That
Similar
same
feels.
sense of like just being on a road, but for him it's more like just the repetition
Yeah,
as he's describing this thing. Um,
in the loop.
yeah.
Oh, excuse me.
That's I feel like I don't know if you could call it R&B. I don't know if R&B is the right thing. Like
Yeah,
maybe there's
it's not
R&B
art.
elements,
Maybe like
but
a
he's melodic. He's
yeah.
like I said, he's a vibey guy. Like
I know there's a thing. Is it neo soul?
I don't know if you
No.
could call it neo
Yeah.
soul. Neo soul is like Erica
Yeah.
Badu. That's Aria Lennox more recently. Maybe Lucky Day.
Mm-hmm.
There's elements, and of course, all of this kind of is rooted together.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know. I don't know if it's appropriate. You gotta listen to. I don't know if you like Sylvia Demo. It's even more melodic and like low. The fire is burning low.
Mm.
You know what I mean? But maybe if you're feeling like you want to listen to some sad boy shit,
Mm.
that'd be good. I'd say to the Sun's tirade is so good, but it's also very vibey. That's just his thing.
Yeah.
But it has "What's Wrong" on there. Have you've heard that song before? I played
Probably
it
have.
definitely.
Oh yeah, yeah.
If you don't recognize that, I kick you in your head. That's like one of the best Kendrick features.
Yeah.
How I feel my heal everybody around me. I kill everybody around me. How the wind blow. Open the window. Like, whew. Well, he was flowing in there. It's so sick.
Yeah. I'll definitely check some more stuff out from him. But yeah, there was a lot of stuff on there. I was like, oh, I remember this.
Yeah, it should be familiar.
Good stuff.
The last thing I was listening to is Wesley Joseph. UK dude, also kind of pretty melodic. Although I'd be less. You could, yeah, you might could call him R&B ish sometimes. I would be less opposed to the idea.
Mm.
He has like his last EP, Ultramarine, has some of my favorite songs ever. Like the Bloom. What was it? Maybe Thriller. Yeah, Thriller. He's just so good. His voice has like this nice texture to it. I like his. It's like a spacey atmospheric vibe sometimes, but it's still very concrete and rooted in like a more modern hip hop sound. I'd say. I don't know. I don't know the words for these genre markings, but it's good music, man. It sounds good.
What was the name?
Wesley Joseph. I don't even know what the fuck the album's about. It's kind of crazy.
Check it out.
Mm-mm-mm. I don't know if that's because he's from the UK and I kind of just ignored the actual words because the accent, like just subconsciously, or if I'm just not been active listening. Sometimes I said before, I don't know if I said on the podcast, I gotta stop doing that. But if the rapping sounds good, I don't really care what you rapping about too heavy, unless
The flow.
it's something where I should care about it.
Yeah.
And if the rapping is like, I'm not just talking about just the flow. I mean actual words you're using.
Oh, okay.
Like if it's a
Like the
bad
wordplay.
rapper, I can't turn off my brain. It'll feel like someone's stabbing me with the words.
Yeah.
But if it's a good rapper, could be lyrical as fuck, but I won't care. Like it for some reason, um, I might even be trying to follow the lyrics, but instead my mind would just go into like movie mode, or it'll go off on a completely different tangent rather than staying in the present with every lyric.
Yeah.
Unless I make a concerted effort, which would then puts me more in like an analytical mindset rather than like an enjoyment mindset. Yeah, which could be in its own form of enjoyment, but
Yeah, I think I actually feel that. I feel like that's one of the reasons why I have to listen to an album like multiple times to really get it. It's not because I need to like I didn't understand it the first time or whatever. It's more like what you said. If it's a really good one, you're I find myself listening to how they put together things and just enjoying the experience
yeah,
of what they put together rather than really drilling down on every like word and how that translates to the overall context or message type of thing.
that's how I know that J Cole album wasn't good
Yeah.
because I couldn't get into that mode of
Yeah.
just enjoying it.
Yeah.
I felt like I kept getting stabbed time to time
Yeah,
with dissonance.
it's like when you read a good book and you just don't even recognize the words you're reading, you're just in it.
Yeah,
Versus if it's not so good, you're like, wait, what?
every word you're like, what?
Like, huh?
You're
You're
like
taken out of
you're repiecing sentences and maybe
yeah,
rearranging things in your way
exactly.
to make it better.
Yeah, yeah. Damn, what's the term for that? Suspending your
Suspension of disbelief.
yeah, suspension of belief. Suspension of disbelief? Yeah, disbelief. I guess the same thing happens in movies, but I feel like I don't watch stuff as much as I read. But
But
yeah.
movies, that doesn't happen with me with movies. Maybe it's been a while since I've seen something that I truly felt was bad. But even the things that I feel like mediocre, because it's just a visual experience. Like I might get
Yeah,
bored.
it's easier to turn your brain off, almost.
I might be bored and distracted if it's like, okay, maybe I'm wrong. Because at that point, I'm just not gonna want to pay. I'm not gonna want to be locked in with the movie. But it's different from rap in the sense that I switch in and I get very in the moment.
Yeah,
With the movie, I get very out of the moment if it's
yeah,
bad. Like like why am I watching this? I'm gonna do the second screen thing.
yeah.
But sometimes it's like a bad movie where it's just fun to watch it. Sometimes.
That camp almost.
Yeah. All right. Anything else? Anything on
Uh,
your mind? Anything present?
yeah. We'll talk about it next time. I am tired.
All right.
That's it for now.
I feel energized still. 11:30. I'm
with
gonna try
that.
to go to bed at 1:30, 1.
That's wild.
Is it for real?
Yeah. You waking up at 7.
1 is good for me. I was proud when I got to 1 on the regular.
That's
But
crazy.
yeah,
You
bye,
get 7
niggas.
hours. Bye.